Hello, and welcome to Sleepy Tales by John. I am truly grateful that tonight, amid the countless sounds, lights, and restless movements of the world outside, you have chosen to pause here, in a small, peaceful corner where curiosity is free to drift. Perhaps today has been a long day, filled with unfinished thoughts and unanswered questions. Or perhaps you simply wish to let your mind wander among galaxies instead of forcing yourself to count sheep as usual. Whatever your reason may be, I believe this place is meant for you. Tonight, we will gently explore one of the most ancient and powerful forces shaping our world, plate tectonics. This colossal force guides the rise of mountain ranges, the birth of oceans, and the slow formation of continents on the planet we call home. Beneath every landscape you have ever crossed, the familiar road, the quiet shoreline, or the distant hazy mountain, there exists a slow, steady pulse, like Earth's breath, stretching across millions, even billions of years. On tonight's journey, we will softly descend to the ocean floor, touch mountains that are growing while asleep, and listen to the whispered stories of Earth beneath its seemingly silent crust. If you find comfort in these slow, drifting tales, you may like, subscribe, or leave a quiet whisper below. But for now, keep your breathing gentle and allow the ancient world to hold you. Let us begin. The ground beneath your feet never truly stops moving. Even when the world around you feels calm and stable, the surface below is always on a slow, silent journey. The outer shell of our planet is made of enormous slabs of solid rock, sliding atop a deeper layer that behaves almost like softened stone. If you imagine the place where you are resting right now, everything feels firm, secure, unmoving. It offers a sense of absolute safety, like a silent promise that says, everything is still, you may rest. Yet Earth does not keep this promise in the way we often imagine. Not because it wishes to deceive us, but because its movement is simply too slow. So slow that only time itself is patient enough to notice. Beneath the thin layer we call ground, the planet is divided into massive plates, not scattered rocks, but ancient rafts so vast they carry continents, oceans, mountains, and the memories of life itself. They do not drift like boats on water, nor do they race like stars. They move, quietly, steadily, at a pace of only a few centimeters per year, as slow as fingernails growing, as slow as moss creeping across stone, so slow that an entire human lifetime passes without you ever feeling that you have traveled with them. This movement makes no sound. It does not rumble like an engine. It does not whisper like the wind. If it could be compared to anything, it would be a very faint background melody, very deep within the world, too subtle for ears to hear, yet time can hear it. Over millions of years, this rhythm becomes powerful enough to push continents apart, open oceans, close ancient seas, raise mountain ranges to the clouds, and then wear them down into sand. And yet, all of this unfolds with perfect patience, as if Earth understands that every great change must be made gently. Perhaps that is why this motion never startles you. You do not wake because of it. You do not fear it. Even as one plate slowly pulls away from another, or quietly slides past its neighbor, Earth keeps the surface calm enough for you to lie down, stable enough for trees to grow, reliable enough for humans to build homes, tell stories, love, and sleep in peace. The safety you feel does not come from stillness. It comes from gentle movement. If you were to look at Earth from very far away, from a place where details soften into blur, the planet would not appear rigid or lifeless. It would resemble a body breathing slowly. The tectonic plates are like broad shoulders, drifting over a hotter, softer layer beneath, a dense, pliable rock that allows the plates above to glide without breaking. Nothing rushes, nothing tears. There is only a quiet, enduring motion, lasting longer than any story humanity has ever recorded. And within this slowness, Earth teaches us a strange and beautiful lesson. Movement does not need to be loud. change does not need to hurt. Some journeys are so vast that if they happen too quickly, they would shatter everything. And so the planet chooses to move slowly, allowing life time to adapt, oceans time to adjust their currents, climates time to redistribute warmth, and humanity enough space to be born, to grow, and to fade back into the shared cycle. As you lie there listening, you may not feel the ground shifting beneath you, but that does not mean it is not happening. Just as when you sleep deeply, your heart continues to beat, your lungs continue to breathe, and your blood continues to flow, all beyond your awareness, yet keeping you safe. Earth's movement is the same. It is the background rhythm, the deep breath, the quiet force that allows the surface above to remain calm long enough to become a home. So if, at this moment, you feel as though you are drifting, that feeling is entirely true. You are resting upon a vast stone raft, quietly traveling through geological time. No seatbelt required, no need for worry. This planet has been doing this for billions of years, and it knows exactly how to move without waking you. But if Earth is moving, what is it made of? Does this movement happen across one solid mass, or many pieces joined together? At this moment of curiosity, we step gently into the next secret, where the shape of the planet reveals itself like an ancient mosaic. Imagine Earth not as a single solid sphere, but like a very large egg, its surface marked by delicate cracks. Not fractures of destruction, but natural divisions. Soft lines that have existed for ages. These lines do not break the planet apart. They allow it to breathe, to stretch, and to move steadily across stretches of time longer than human memory. Earth's outer shell is divided into tectonic plates, immense pieces, each large enough to carry continents, oceans, mountains, and the stories of millions of generations. Some hold ancient land masses, others cradle only the deepest ocean floors. They are uneven, asymmetrical, imperfectly shaped, yet when fitted together, they wrap the planet with uncanny precision, as though placed exactly where they belong from the very beginning. Between these plates lie boundaries, and when viewed through a meditative lens, they do not feel like dividing lines, but rather stitches, sewing the world together. In some places, these stitches pull rock fabrics tightly together, compressing and folding them. In others, they loosen, allowing pieces to slowly drift apart. And elsewhere, the plates slide past one another, brushing gently before continuing on their separate paths. Where plates press together, Earth seems to embrace itself. Rock compresses, folds, rises. And over immense spans of time, mountain ranges lift from that embrace, not with a sudden leap, but through patient support, millimeter by millimeter, as if the planet is raising pillars to lean against the sky. These mountains appear still and eternal, yet they are still growing, breath by breath of time. Where plates pull apart, Earth creates space, not for loss, but for birth. From deep below, molten material rises, cools, and becomes new rock. The ocean floor is reborn this way, strip by strip, like the rings of a tree quietly recording the planet's age. No witnesses, no sound, only silent renewal beneath waters sunlight never reaches. And where plates slide past one another, Earth seems to adjust its posture. They touch, catch, build tension, and eventually, when silence is full, the planet releases a brief shudder. Not anger, but necessary release. Seen from afar, Earth's surface resembles a stone-packed cloak. Pieces of different colors and ages, stitched together by invisible seams wrapping the globe. The cloak is old, imperfect, but warm. It has sheltered oceans, forests, creatures, and humanity for billions of years, and strangely, it is those seams that make it stronger. Without them, the planet would be rigid, unable to adapt or change. Perhaps that is why Earth never needed to be a flawless whole. It chose to exist as a joined totality, where every piece has purpose and every connection carries meaning. Life is much the same. None of us is a perfect, self-contained whole. We are assembled from memories, experiences, collisions, separations, and moments when we slid past one another and vanished. Yet, from far enough away, everything belongs to a larger picture. And in this slow, drifting sleep, as the image of a stone-patched planet passes through your mind, you may feel a deep softening. Because if Earth, with all its gentle cracks, can support life so patiently, then perhaps the cracks within us are not signs of damage either. They are simply places where pieces meet, allowing us to keep moving, to keep drifting, without forcing ourselves into perfection. And from this ancient mosaic, from this stone cloak, our journey continues, even more slowly, to listen to the pace at which these pieces move. For once you understand the planet's structure, you are ready to feel its speed. A speed so slow it feels strange, yet powerful enough to rewrite the world. Now, as those stone stitches no longer feel foreign but familiar, like the folds of an old blanket, the next question may arise naturally. How fast do these pieces move? Do they crash violently, or do they drift in silence? Think of your fingernails. You never feel them growing in an afternoon, or even over several days. Yet after enough time, you look back and realize they have changed. Earth's tectonic plates move the same way. They drift at a pace poetic in its slowness, just a few centimeters per year, sometimes no more than the thickness of a coin, as slow as moss spreading over stone, as slow as dust settling on a forgotten book, so slow that every living being on the surface can sleep, work, build, love, and grow old without ever realizing the world beneath them is quietly shifting. This movement has no sound, no shaking, no warning. It is like a faint background melody you can only hear when the room is completely still. Listen with your ears and you will miss it. Listen with years, with generations, with history longer than memory, and you will begin to sense its rhythm. Steady, patient, unhurried, unwavering. And it is this slowness that gives it strength. For time, when given enough of it, can turn the smallest motions into irreversible change. A plate drifting millimeter by millimeter can, over millions of years, open an ocean. A gentle pressure, sustained across tens of millions of years, can raise mountains into the clouds. Continents, once pressed together, slowly drift apart, leaving room for seas to pour in, winds to change course, and climates to rewrite the story of life. Imagine Earth as a being breathing very slowly. With each inhale, plates draw closer. With each exhale, they move apart. This cycle is not measured in minutes or hours, but in epochs. What feels like ancient history to us is merely a slightly longer breath for the planet. And within that breath, everything is supported by patience. The strange thing is this: even though the movement is so slow, humans still find a way to listen to it. Not with our senses, but with tools. Sophisticated GPS instruments are anchored deep into rock, placed across continents and on remote islands. They do not track people. They do not measure the rush of daily life. They quietly record the smallest shifts, a few millimeters each year, as if pressing a stethoscope to Earth's chest to hear the heartbeat of the ground. That heartbeat is steady, not hurried, not strangely slowed, an ancient rhythm, reliable enough to be trusted. And that reliability brings a deep sense of safety. Because if the ground beneath you can move continuously for billions of years and still preserve the shape of a planet, then perhaps the slow changes in your own life do not need to be feared. Not every movement must be felt immediately to carry meaning. Some changes can only be understood in hindsight. A relationship shifting by degrees, an old thought quietly wearing away, a person growing not through explosive moments, but through ordinary days placed one after another. Earth teaches us this through its own body. Earth teaches us this through its own body. Slow, if sustained long enough, becomes strength. And it is also because of this slow drift that life has time to adapt. If the tectonic plates rushed like impatient machines, the planet could not support any creature at all. But because they move like fingernails growing, life can learn to take root, to migrate, to evolve. Forests rise upon ancient stone, seas open, then close again. Climate shifts by degrees. Enough to challenge, but not enough to erase everything at once. Earth is never in a hurry. It always gives life more time. As you lie here in the quiet of night, you may notice that rhythm reflected in your own breathing. Inhale, slow. Exhale, long. No effort, no control. Just letting time do its work. Like the massive plates beneath you, your breath does not need to be fast to be effective. It only needs to be steady. And perhaps in this moment, you begin to feel a very gentle truth. The world does not run on constant violent jolts, but on small movements repeated for long enough. Mountains do not rise in a single night. Oceans do not open in a single season. But if you are patient enough to look with the planet's eyes, everything is happening in its proper rhythm. All right then, if the tectonic plates drift so slowly, what are they drifting on? How are they held up, inside a world that seems so solid? The answer arrives like a quiet boat emerging in morning mist. Continents do not stand still, they float. And so we step into the story of enormous stone rafts, traveling on. Imagine you are lying quietly on a vast ship, wide enough to carry a forest, a mountain range, cities and rivers. That ship is not made of wood, but of stone. Thick, ancient, carrying the memory of billions of years. Beneath it lies another ocean, not of water, but of Earth's deeper layer. Hot, dense, moving very slowly like warm honey. Upon that ocean, continents drift, never sinking, never rushing, like floating rafts balanced with a delicacy so perfect it feels impossible. Stone seems heavy, yet continental rock is lighter than the rock below it. That fragile difference allows continents to float, the way an iceberg rests on the sea. No one can see this motion within a single lifetime. But if you are patient enough to look with the eyes of time, you will see continents quietly traveling, meeting, separating, shifting their positions like fleets on the planet's ancient ocean. There was a time, long before humans existed, when all those stone rafts gathered into a single body, a vast supercontinent where land connected to land, where no oceans split the world, where wind crossed enormous distances without ever meeting water. We can imagine that moment like a great reunion, every fleet docking at one harbor, sharing one space, falling silent beneath one sky. But no reunion lasts forever. Earth's breathing continues. The rafts begin to part, very slowly, very gently, like friends saying goodbye without anger, simply because it is time for each to continue their own journey. Between them, a gap opens. Water fills that gap, seas are born, oceans widen, and the world, for the first time, learns to divide itself into many pieces, not to become weaker, but to become more diverse. That separation does not only change the map, it rewrites the climate. When continents drift closer to the equator, sunlight becomes more generous. When they slowly move toward the poles, ice begins to appear. Ocean currents, shaped and guided by the outlines of land, carry warmth, cold, rain, and wind across the planet. A continent shifting by just a few degrees can change the fate of all life living upon it. Sit with that thought in silence. A rainforest once existed where a desert stands today. A frozen land was once a warm seafloor. Creatures never knew the ground beneath them was moving, yet they adapted, evolved, or vanished, following the slow voyage of those massive stone rafts. Earth does not announce anything. It simply keeps moving, and life learns to listen. Continents have no goal. They do not know where they are going, yet their journey still creates order. Collision gives birth to mountains. Separation gives birth to seas. The distance between stone rafts shapes the flow of wind, water, and weather. And within all of this, humans arrive very late, like tiny passengers on the deck, looking up at the sky and believing they stand on solid, unmoving ground. There is something comforting in this image. If continents, things that seem unchangeable, are only floating rafts drifting on, then perhaps the uncertainty you feel in life is not a sign of instability, but a natural part of the journey. Not everything must stand still to matter. Some things are born to move, to change position, to find a new shape over time. As you think of those stone fleets, meeting, parting, shifting course, you may see the outline of your own story. Fateful encounters, unavoidable goodbyes, journeys that carry you into new climates of the soul. And like Earth, you do not need to rush. Slow change is often the most enduring change of all. Beneath you, at this very moment, the stone raft you are resting on continues to drift. No shaking, no warning. It has been drifting for hundreds of millions of years, and it will drift long after you fall asleep. Oceans open, then close. Continents will meet again, in a future so distant, it is difficult to imagine. Earth does not worry about this. It trusts its own rhythm. And now, as those enormous rafts keep drifting, patiently carrying forests, oceans, the memories of creatures, and the footprints of time, there will come a moment, not from hurry, but from the planet's natural path, when they move toward one another. No horn, no dramatic instant, only the distance between two continents slowly shrinking, like two boats in morning mist that never planned to meet, yet meet all the same. And at the place where they meet, something extraordinary happens. Not destruction, but the rising of mountains. Imagine the moment two stone rafts touch. Not like an accident, but like an embrace that lasts millions of years. The pressure does not arrive in a rush, not violently, but slowly. Like a grip held so long you forget when it began. Rock cannot flee, it can only yield, fold and curl like thick fabric, pushed from both sides. And in that yielding, rock learns how to stand upright. Iwandipama. Ilarimas. Mountains do not grow like trees. Mountains wake up. They are ancient sleeps, forced to open their eyes, pushed out of the familiar horizontal rest into a slow reaching toward the sky. From far away, mountains seem still and eternal, as if they have always been there and always will be. But if you listen with time, you will realize they are still breathing, millimeter by millimeter, still rising, sinking, wearing away, reshaping, like a living being that moves very slowly. Where collisions are strongest, Earth builds immense walls of stone. The Himalayas are one such endless whisper. That range still rises each year, not from ambition, but because the embrace between two continental plates has not yet ended. They are still pressing, patiently, steadily, like two thoughts inside the planet that refuse to make room for one another. And from those embraces, climate begins to change its voice. Mountains stand up and wind must learn to go around. Air carrying moisture from the sea is forced to climb, cool, and release its rain along the slopes like a quiet confession. One side turns lush with forest, the other becomes dry and hushed. Mountains do not choose sides. They simply stand there, and the world rearranges itself around them. From mountain peaks, ice begins to gather, not because of harshness, but because of height. Tiny snowflakes fall slowly, settle, layer upon layer, and become glaciers. And from those seemingly motionless ice bodies, water begins its return journey downward. Small streams form, flow grows, rivers are born. By standing up, mountains give the world its gentlest pathways of water. Think of that the next time you hear rain. That drop may once have been part of a cloud shaped by mountains holding moisture in place. It may once have been snow, resting for centuries before melting. Mountains do not speak, yet through their form they guide wind, rain, ice, and rivers. Like a vast roof Earth raises to regulate the breath of climate, there is a strange gentleness in how mountains are born. Not from explosions, but from endurance. Not from speed, but from time. Two slabs of rock press long enough, and rock becomes something new. Perhaps that is why mountains always feel so solemn, like old sages standing still, teaching patience without words. And like the drifting rafts, mountains do not last forever. Wind wears them, water carves them, ice drags their stone into valleys. Even the highest peaks slowly lower, returning their material to the sea, so that elsewhere, one day, another embrace can raise new mountains again. Earth does not cling to any single shape for too long. It only keeps movement. If you are lying there, listening in that half-awake, half-dreaming place, you may feel a quiet resemblance. Pressures in life, collisions, seasons where you feel pushed from many sides, do not always come to break you. Sometimes, if they are slow enough and long enough, they build something inside you that stands higher, holds wind better, and guides water for the rest of your life. And when mountains have risen from the slow embrace of stone rafts, when wind has learned to curve around high slopes, when rain has found its way into valleys and become rivers, Earth's journey still does not stop there. Because not every motion climbs toward the sky. Some motions choose to go downward, quieter, deeper, and no less patient. If you let yourself soften a little more, letting your breath settle lower into your chest, we will drift offshore, beyond the edge of the continents, and quietly listen to another secret of the planet. The secret beneath the ocean floor. Where sunlight weakens and fades away, where the sea becomes a dark mirror, Earth continues its work of creation. Under thousands of meters of water, there are long mountain ranges like enormous seams, winding through the ocean's depths. They are not as tall as mountains on land. They do not touch clouds or wear white snow, yet they stretch so far they wrap around the planet itself. These are called mid-ocean ridges, places where the seafloor is not merely existing, but being born. Imagine two tectonic plates no longer pressing against one another, but slowly drifting apart, like two hands relaxing after holding on for a very long time. The space that opens between them is not a break or a rupture, but a gentle gap, wide enough for warmth from deep within the earth to rise softly upward. Magma, the molten rock carrying the planet's ancient memory, does not explode or roar. It flows slowly, like sap seeping from the trunk of an old tree, warm red, quiet, and persistent. When that magma meets the cold seawater, it does not vanish. It cools, solidifies, and becomes new stone. Layer upon layer forms, little by little, in a rhythm so slow that no living being could ever sense it within a single lifetime. And in this way, the ocean floor expands, not by pushing the old away, but by giving birth to something new right where it is. If you are lying still right now, imagine this process as a very deep sleep. No dreams, no disturbance, just the steady continuation of a vast body healing itself, growing itself. The earth is not in a hurry to widen the oceans. It does so the way fingernails grow, the way hair lengthens, slow, steady, and without the need for witnesses. And then there is a quiet, beautiful detail preserved within those new layers of stone. As magma cools, the minerals inside align themselves with Earth's magnetic field at that moment in time. Over millions of years, that magnetic field reverses, shifts, and reverses again. Each time, newly formed rock records a different fingerprint. The result is a pattern of magnetic stripes on the ocean floor, parallel, orderly, like ancient journals printed directly into the deep. These bands do not write with letters or tell stories with words, yet they preserve time with remarkable precision. They say, "Here, the earth expanded. Here, a younger ocean was born. Here, the planet released a long, slow breath." And all of this happened in silence, beneath deep water, where there are no eyes watching and no applause. There is something strangely comforting in knowing that most of this planet's surface, the seafloor, is continually renewed in such a gentle way. Not every change requires earthquakes, volcanoes, or violent collisions. Most of the time, the earth chooses to open rather than break, to give birth rather than tear apart. The mid-ocean ridges are also where life begins in a very quiet way, where seawater meets hot rock. Hydrothermal vents form, carrying minerals, heat, and the very conditions early life once needed. It is as if the planet prepared a cradle for itself, long before any creature ever learned to look up at the sky. If you listen closely, you may sense a gentle parallel between the ocean floor and your own sleep right now. As your awareness slows, your body continues its work, cells renewing, the heartbeat steady, breath ongoing. You do not need to control it, you only need to allow it. The earth is the same. It does not command magma to flow, stone to harden, or oceans to widen. Everything happens simply because this is how the planet exists. Perhaps that is why the ocean brings a deeper sense of rest than any other place. Beneath its gentle waves lies a rhythm of creation that never stops, a story written in stone and time. When you hear the sound of waves in your imagination, you may also be hearing the earth soothing itself, reminding itself that everything is continuing at the right pace. And when the seafloor has finished its quiet birthing, when the new layers of rock have cooled and carry magnetic memories like ancient inscriptions across the deep, the earth continues into another movement, more discreet, more likely to startle humans, yet still part of that same patient breath. Wherever there are seams holding the world together, there are moments when they must be gently reminded that they exist. And so, from deep within the plate boundaries, a familiar phenomenon appears: earthquakes. But if we listen with the slow rhythm of night, with the mindset of someone drifting toward sleep, earthquakes lose their image of chaos. They become a very soft knock, coming from the giant seams stitching the world together. Not a pounding knock, not an angry blow, but like the way you quietly turn over in bed when an old position is no longer comfortable. Most of the time, those plate boundaries are absolutely silent. They lock together, compress, endure, and hold balance for tens, hundreds, even thousands of years. In that silence, energy does not disappear, it is simply stored, like a breath held too long in the chest. And then, in a very small, very brief moment, when the silence becomes too full, the earth allows itself to exhale. That moment is an earthquake. Not anger, not rage, just a necessary release, allowing the plates to find a new balance. Like shifting in deep sleep, no waking, no awareness. Yet the body knows it must move in order to keep resting. If you could look at Earth from very far away, you would see tiny points of vibration appearing along plate boundaries, like faint lights tracing an invisible map of the planet. Those vibrations tell us, here is a seam, here plates touch, slide, or attempt to separate. In that way, earthquakes become a language, not to frighten, but to inform. There is a gentle paradox in this. The places that shake the most are often where the earth is most active, adjusting, rearranging itself. And the places that are completely quiet are sometimes regions that have been locked in rigidity for too long. Silence is not always peace. Sometimes it is simply waiting. In this lullaby-like telling, we can imagine earthquakes as the soft rustle of a massive stone coat when its wearer moves. You do not hear each stitch, but you feel the subtle shift through the fabric. And when the sound passes, the coat settles again, embracing the body of the planet once more. Most earthquakes on Earth are so small that humans never notice them. They happen every day, every hour, beneath deep oceans, under remote mountains, in places untouched by footsteps. The Earth adjusts itself thousands of times in silence before a tremor grows large enough to be felt. And even when we do feel it, a gentle shake, a quiet clink. Most of the time, it is only a brief touch, without malice. Perhaps that is why, when we place earthquakes in the context of millions of years, they begin to feel gentler. Not harmless, but understandable. They are not aimed at anyone. They have no target. They are simply part of the slow dance of stone, learning how to live together on a planet that never stops moving. If you are lying still right now, try to feel the bed beneath your back. You might turn slightly, adjust your pillow, pull the blanket a little higher. Your body does this without thought. The Earth does the same. An earthquake is not a moment of loss of control. It is the moment the planet finds the comfort it needs to continue existing. And then, after each tremor, the planet settles. Seismic waves travel outward, fade, and dissolve into the ground like ripples after your hand touches a lake. Quiet returns. Stone locks into stone again, the seams lie still, carrying the memory of just enough adjustment. In this sleep-like flow, earthquakes remind us of something very gentle. Stability is not immobility, but the ability to move when necessary. A world that never shakes may be a world that has grown rigid, unable to adapt. And a body that never shifts in sleep may not truly be resting. As you loosen the final thoughts of a long day, notice that even the planet beneath you never holds one position forever. It listens to itself. It adjusts. It trembles softly when needed, and then it rests again. And within that rest, deeper movements are waiting. For there are places on Earth that do not only shake, but open. Boundaries that do not only slide or collide, but bend, descend, and disappear into deep heat. That is the next story, the story of downward paths, where Earth's crust learns to let go in order to be reborn. For now, you may let yourself drift a little further into this feeling of safety. The Earth is resting beneath you. Its seams have grown quiet. And, like the planet, you are allowed to adjust your position, then continue resting. Without haste, without worry, within the slow breath of a world that knows how to balance itself. Now, as the last vibrations fade and the seams of the Earth close again into silence, the planet does not stop. It simply changes direction. If an earthquake is a gentle turn in sleep, then immediately after, far deeper, another quiet journey begins. Slow, heavy, and almost eternal. This is when the Earth's crust begins to bow, not to vanish, but to return. In the deepest parts of the ocean where sunlight no longer reaches, there are long, narrow depressions like deep folds in the planet's stone garment. Humans call them ocean trenches. But in the imagination of a quiet night, they feel more like dark doors opening within the sea. Places where the surface does not end, but begins another journey. There, a tectonic plate does not suddenly fall. It bends. Slowly. Patiently. Like thick wood gently pressed over time, curving until it no longer remains at the surface. That slab of stone sinks beneath another plate, sliding into hotter, deeper layers of the planet, where pressure and heat are strong enough to change its very nature. This process is called subduction, a scientific name carrying a remarkably gentle story. For in subduction, nothing is truly lost. Nothing is erased. The old surface, rock, that was once seafloor, once plains, once a foundation for life, is simply returning inward, like a leaf falling to the ground and dissolving into soil. One day nourishing a new sprout, The Earth does not discard what is old. It recycles its own memory. As the plate sinks deeper, water trapped within minerals is slowly released. The surrounding rock softens and partially melts, forming magma, not the violent lava of popular imagination, but a hot, slow fluid carrying the history of what once existed on the surface. That magma does not rush, it waits, it gathers. And then, somewhere else, far from the original moment, it finds a way back upward. And so, in the planet's long breath, subduction and eruption are not separate events. They are two ends of the same circle. Old surfaces descend so new ones can be born. Volcanoes rising along island arcs and continental margins are, in truth, the whispered return of rocks that once sank into darkness. If you could stand still on your stone vessel and look through kilometers of seawater and thick crust, you would see this movement like a meditative flow. No clear beginning, no clear end. Only constant circulation between inside and outside, heat and coolness, disappearance and rebirth. In sleepy imagination, ocean trenches are places where time slows down. Everything that falls there does so without urgency. Light cannot keep up. Sound dissolves. Only pressure, heat, and absolute patience remain. These are places humans rarely touch, yet they play a vital role in keeping the planet endlessly renewed. There is a strange beauty in this bowing motion. The Earth does not only know how to lift, raising mountains, pushing continents, opening oceans, it also knows how to let go. It knows when to return material inward, when to close one cycle so another can begin. And this ability to release is what keeps the planet from freezing into a single form. If human life sometimes needs to learn how to stand up, the Earth reminds us that sometimes we must also learn how to quietly descend. Not to disappear, but to change from the roots. Not to end, but to prepare for another shape, in another place, at another time. Subduction reminds us that all surfaces are temporary. Continents that seem unchanging, oceans that feel eternal, are all part of a much larger cycle. And within that cycle, there is no judgment, only necessity. As you lie listening to these words, you may feel that you too are in a kind of personal trench, a slow, dark phase with little light. But, like Earth's crust, going downward does not mean being lost. It may be a necessary part of a greater turning, where what is old is softened and transformed so that one day it can return in another form, lighter, stronger, or simply more fitting. Earth has been doing this for billions of years without growing tired. It doesn't try to keep everything on the surface. It trusts the cycle. And it is that trust that has kept this planet alive, flexible, and able to hold life for so long. As the trench closes in your imagination, as the slab of rock has sunk deep enough to begin a new journey, the Earth continues writing its story. Not with violent collisions, but with slow, quiet movements that still carry meaning. And ahead in this journey, there are still places where the planet is mid-sentence. Lands that are pulling apart, valleys that are widening, mountains that are still rising by millimeters each year. Places where the tectonic story is not yet finished, and you can hear it if you listen long enough. But before we step into those next pages, you can allow yourself to rest here for a moment, in the safety of a planet that knows how to bow down, how to return, and how to be born again. Your breath is slow. The Earth is slow too. And in that slowness, everything is exactly where it needs to be. And as those deep cycles continue to close and open again, as the plates descend far enough to dissolve into the warmth within, the Earth does not fall into complete rest. Instead, in other places, far from the dark, silent trenches, the planet is still writing on the surface. Slowly, yet endlessly. Like a book that never turns its final page, if you listen long enough, you will feel that even now, even beneath your sleep, there are lands still rising, still separating, still breathing in their own rhythm, long before humans arrived. and long after we are gone. Somewhere high above, where the air grows thin and the sky feels closer than usual, the Himalayas continue to lift. Quietly, without drama, only with a gentle, persistent rise. The collision between two vast continents, India and Eurasia, has not ended. It is not like a single hard strike, but like two enormous hands pressed together for tens of millions of years, until the rock between them has no choice but to stand up. Each year, the range rises only a few millimeters, as delicate as a thread. Yet if you add up enough time, that thread becomes the roof of the world. In this sleep-soft imagination, the Himalayas feel like a dream being slowly lifted upright. You can picture the sky there being raised just a little more each year, as if the earth were gently sliding an extra pillow beneath its own head. Great rivers begin there and flow outward in every direction, carrying water, silt, and the rhythm of life for billions of people. A mountain is not only stone. A mountain is the result of patience, proof that the slowest movements sometimes create the greatest shapes. Far from those peaks still rising, somewhere else the earth is doing the opposite. It is opening. Across continents, long cracks stretch where the ground seems to split in a remarkably gentle way. These are rift zones, drift valleys. From above, they look like fine fractures on thick glass, not yet broken, but slowly widening with time. In Africa, the East African Rift is opening very slowly, only a few millimeters each year. But in the breath of geology, it is a clear sign of a future ocean. Imagine that in your sleep, a continent quietly dividing, without pain, without hurry. At first a valley, then a long lake, then the sea begins to slip in. After tens of millions of years, what was once land becomes a young sea, and then a new ocean opens. Blue and deep, its currents never seen before. The earth doesn't only keep what already exists, it dares to change its own shape, making room for what has not yet arrived. And between places that rise and places that split, there are special points where volcanoes do not sit at the edges of plates, but appear in the middle of oceans or continents like fixed lights. These places are called hotspots, deep hot lamps within the planet. The plate drifts above while the heat source stays still, like a lamp beneath a slow conveyor belt. As the belt moves, each spot on the surface is warmed in turn, forming a line of volcanic islands, as though footprints are being left across time. Hawaii is a gentle example of this. Each island is a moment the earth once paused above that hot lamp. The youngest island is still warm, still growing as lava cools. Older islands have drifted away, worn down by wind and waves, sinking lower toward the sea. That chain is like a slow piece of music. Each note rises, then softens, giving way to the next. No note rushes, no note is out of place. Elsewhere, the Pacific Ring of Fire wraps around half the planet like a necklace that glows very faintly. That is where plates meet, where subduction is strong, where volcanoes and earthquakes appear more often. Yet even there, beneath what looks fierce, the earth still moves by consistent rules. There is no anger, only the release of energy when it is necessary so the system does not lock itself tight. If you step back and look at the whole, you will see the Himalayas rising, rifts opening, volcanic islands appearing in sequence and drifting away, different sentences in the same story. A story of continuous movement, of no shape being final, of a planet that never stands still long enough to become rigid. Against that background, a human life suddenly feels light. We live a few decades on a surface that has been changing for billions of years and will keep changing long into the future. The worries, the pressures, the things that feel enormous in a day or a year shrink when placed beside the Earth's slow breath. This planet does not hurry, and perhaps it does not need us to hurry either. As you lie still and listen, you may be in a very small, quiet room, but beneath you, deep, far away, the earth is still lifting mountains, opening seas, and lighting hot lamps for what comes next. It does all this without needing witnesses, without needing praise, simply because that is how it exists. And in that patient existence, there is a gentle invitation for you. You don't have to complete everything at once. You don't have to know exactly where you're going. If a planet can spend tens of millions of years, lifting a mountain by only a few centimeters each century, then you are allowed to move slowly too. Allowed to rest. Allowed to trust that even if you cannot see results right now, every small movement is still helping write your own story. The Earth is still writing, and tonight you only need to listen, breathe slowly, and let yourself drift with that writing. Safe, steady, and never in a rush, and as those still unfinished lands pass softly through the planet's deep breath. As mountains continue to rise in the gentlest way and future oceans remain only a thin idea beneath cracked ground, we begin to realize something. The Earth has never truly ended any story. It only turns the page, and in that tender crossing, between the Earth still writing and us pausing to listen, tonight's journey begins to close, not with a hard full stop, but with a long, round breath, complete and releasing. If you could see the whole planet from far enough away, far enough that borders disappear, names fade, maps are forgotten, you would see only vast plates drifting. They drift without noise, without rivalry, without needing to know where they are going. Sometimes they meet and press together for tens of millions of years to form a supercontinent. Sometimes they separate again, opening new oceans so water can slip in and carry life. Sometimes they sink, returning deep inside, melting, disappearing from the familiar surface. And then, somewhere else, from that same old material, rock rises again and begins a new cycle. Everything drifts. No shape is fixed. No state lasts forever. In that very slow drifting, climate changes without asking permission. When continents gather and oceans close, currents shift and ice can spread. When continents part and seas open, warm water finds new pathways and forests can return to green. The Earth never holds a single rhythm for too long. It is like a seasoned meditator, knowing when to hold the breath, when to breathe deeply, when to change posture so it doesn't go numb. And that flexibility is what has kept this planet alive through billions of years of change. Beside that rhythm, a human life feels brief, not in a sad way, but in a lighter way. We arrive, live, love, worry, build, and leave, all within a span shorter than a geological blink. Yet that shortness doesn't make it meaningless. It gives each moment its own quiet value. Because when something doesn't last forever, it becomes worth feeling more deeply, worth slowing down for, worth letting go of what isn't needed. As sleep draws nearer, you might imagine yourself lying on a vast stone raft. It doesn't lurch or shake. It glides, very steadily, over a deep ocean. You don't need to see. You don't have to row. You don't have to steer. You don't have to know the destination. The Earth has been doing it for you for a very long time. It knows how to hold balance, how to absorb tension and release it when it must, how to change direction so slowly that nothing breaks apart. If today held too many thoughts, imagine them as small continents inside your mind. You don't have to force them to fit together right now. You don't have to push them apart either. Let them drift at their own pace. Some thoughts must collide to become something new. Some must separate to make room. Some feelings must sink to be reborn in another form. All of it is allowed, all of it is moving in the most natural way. The Earth never blames itself for changing. It doesn't cling to an old supercontinent. It doesn't mourn an ocean that closed. It simply keeps moving, because movement is how it exists. And maybe, in watching that softness, we're allowed to learn one simple thing. Letting go is not losing. Letting go is allowing everything to keep going in its own true rhythm. As you exhale now, let that breath be a little longer. Like a continent drifting away very slowly. As you inhale, let the air go deeper. Like magma rising from within. No effort. No need to picture it perfectly. Only the knowing that beneath the surface stillness, a patient current is holding you, the way the mantle holds the earth's crust. Tonight, you don't have to solve everything. You don't have to know what tomorrow will look like. The earth never hurried to complete itself, and you don't have to hurry either. You're allowed to sleep, allowed to let your mind drift through millions of years, where everything moves slowly enough to be safe, steady, and not frightening at all. And when sleep arrives, let yourself melt into that stone raft. It has drifted past mountains, seas, ice ages, and forests. It will keep drifting, whether you are awake or asleep. You only need to lie still, breathe gently, and trust that you are being held by a very patient planet. Everything drifts, and because of that, you are allowed to let go. Good night.